and more pennies will depend on a decision not his to make. But whatever happens to Daniel, John Mabella lived up to his word. A promise is a promise, all the way.
That's all for this edition of Dateline. We'll see you again next Friday at 9, 8 Central. And of course, I'll see you each weeknight for NBC Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt. For all of us at NBC News, good night.
Your one news source. This is NewsCenter1.
Good evening, I'm Shaddles, and this is NewsCenter1 at 10. In international news tonight, Palestinian militant groups calling for a day of rage following another day of violence. 3 more Palestinians killed by Israeli security forces today in a recent outbreak of violence. At least 37 Palestinians and 7 Israelis have been killed. Most of the action erupting in Jerusalem and the occupied West Bank, and it is the most serious in years. For the most part, the U.S. calls the return to calm have fallen on deaf ears. Secretary of State John Kerry saying that he plans to travel to the region to try and help restore calm, but he has not given any plans or travel dates. Meantime, in Southern California, a quick but torrential downpour leading to massive mudslides. Emergency crews continuing to clear debris after mudslides trapping hundreds of vehicles overnight on major roadways. This is video that Bob Riggio showed you earlier in our 5:30 newscast tonight. The storm striking with little warning, as much as 5 inches of pounding rain an hour in some areas and marble-sized hail, the mud even swallowing up homes. First responders say it was the most dangerous weather that they've seen in quite some time. Remarkably, no one was seriously injured during that flash flooding. In political news tonight, brand new poll numbers in for the Democrats and the Republicans. And NBC's Tracy Potts explains why the next Republican debate could be held without Donald Trump and Ben Carson.
Yo este contigo, that's a promise.
Hillary Clinton raised $30 million last quarter, more than any other candidate. And our new NBC News online poll conducted by SurveyMonkey just out this morning found she won Tuesday's debate and now leads the field by double digits over Bernie Sanders. Sanders was second last quarter in fundraising, followed by Ben Carson. In our poll, Carson's gaining on Donald Trump's lead, up 9% from last month. He and Donald Trump sent a letter to CNBC threatening to boycott the next debate if it's longer than 2 hours and doesn't allow opening and closing statements. Elsewhere on the campaign trail, critics, Jeb Bush on the NFL and Ray Rice.
I think they mishandled this.
Carly Fiorina on President Obama's decision to leave more troops in Afghanistan.
I certainly support his recognition of reality.
And Joe Biden.
Have you made your decision yet?
Still mum on whether he's running for president.
He doesn't have long. October 29th is the first qualifying deadline. That's for Georgia for their Super Tuesday primary. After that, 3 other states have deadlines in early November, including New Hampshire. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
And the Republican Party tweeting this afternoon that there is an agreement on the debate format, and it looks like Trump and Carson's demands will indeed be the rules of the October 28th debate in Colorado. Those 2 men, consistently the top 2 pollers, are getting the top 2 polling results among national polls. Switching gears now to local news, the South Dakota Board of Regents is selected to manage a Native American college readiness grant under scrutiny after an apparent murder-suicide. The Gear Up grant's future has been uncertain ever since the state declined to renew its contract with Mid-Central Educational Cooperative for program administration. Authorities believe that Mid-Central employee Scott Westerhouse shot his wife and 4 children last month before shooting himself and then setting their home on fire. That was just hours after the state informed Mid-Central it was losing its most recent contract. State Secretary of Education Melody Shop says her department will keep providing oversight of the Gear Up grant. It is no secret, from youth suicide on the Pine Ridge Reservation to a budget crisis for the Rapid City School District, South Dakota schools are facing some tough times. But when one door closes, another door opens. It's that kind of infectious optimism and enthusiasm that U.S. Senator John Thune is trying to infuse into South Dakota schools and their youth. NewsCenter1's executive producer, Aaliyah Wilson, has more from John Thune's visit to Rapid City High School.
As students file into Rapid City High School this morning to hear Senator John Thune speak, no one really knows what to expect. But what quickly becomes apparent through the course of his discussion is that these are intelligent students who thirst for more information about their elected officials and their world. From foreign affairs in Afghanistan and Syria to marijuana, minimum wage, and gun control, students peppered the senator with a wide range of thoughtful questions. Questions the senator was more than happy to answer.
It was a really informed group, and you would expect things that affect them personally, jobs, minimum wage, interest rates on college loans, issues like that. But also the stuff that they asked about national security issues and some of the personal questions. And I think they were just very informed, thoughtful questions, and very respectful.
The senator is also interested in how we continue to help students across South Dakota succeed. With teacher pay and budget shortfalls hot topics in the state, Thune says he wants to see more help on the federal level filter down into the states, something he hopes to accomplish with a massive Senate-passed education reform bill that will make its way to the House soon.
We passed an education reform bill through the Senate earlier this year. It hasn't passed the House yet. And hopefully eventually it will, and it'd be nice to get it to the president. But it does a couple of things. And one of the things that it does is it consolidates a lot of just this myriad of federal programs that tend to be very bureaucratic, very sort of driven by overhead at the federal level, and kind of distributes that power back to states. So it gives the money back to states, allows the states to give more latitude on how to spend it. And for a state like South Dakota, that would be really important.
But for all the talk of politics and bureaucracy, there was one message that came through crystal clear.
I think kids need to be bucked up today when it comes to the issue of making good choices, when it comes to character, doing the right thing even when it's not